Is a new era of hi-fi here? Well, KEF seem to think so with the launch of their new LS60 Wireless, but do you agree? Let's find out. I've had the privilege of being able to spend a good few days now with the new KEF LS60 Wireless speakers, launched in celebration of KEF's 60th anniversary. And they're a result of years of research and development, culminating in what KEF describe as the most advanced active loudspeaker system to leave their assembly line, while still working upon the foundations set by their founder Raymond Cook in 1961. Now you are in for a treat with this video, as we're going to be going super in depth on these LS60s, and I'm sure the main question on your mind is, how do they sound? Well, I'll be telling you and showing you later in the video, as well as answering some of your questions. But first, I want to kick off with the backstory behind these LS60s, as never has a backstory been so relevant in a KEF product until now. So KEF was founded in Maidstone in the UK in 1961 by Raymond Cook, who's an ex-BBC electrical engineer who was keen to experiment with new materials and technologies to create products that could reproduce recordings as natural as the original performance. So by 1988, KEF had designed and patented the world's first truly coincident source speaker driver, UniQ. And that enlarged the sweet spot, so that means that everyone could sit at different spots in the room to experience the same natural detailed sound. UniQ became the building block of KEF's signature sound and sits at the heart of almost all of their speakers today, including the KEF LS60s behind me. That UniQ is now in its 12th generation, having been redesigned especially for the LS60s as the slimmest product that KEF have ever made. Interestingly, following on from our announcement video of the KEF LS60s, we had such a varied response from you guys in the comments. Some of you have found they're going to be perfect for you and apparently are just going to be buying them straight away. And others have made it clear that you're going to be sticking with your own hi-fi systems. Now, the LS60s are priced at £6,000 and have been announced for release in summer of 2022. So if you want more details or you want to purchase a pair, I'll flash a QR code on the screen now and also leave a link in the description. So key things to know then. So the KEF LS60s are a brand new product. They're not replacing anything, and they'll be available alongside the other models in KEF's wireless category of speakers in a color choice of titanium gray, mineral white, which are the ones we have here, and royal blue. I think a big statement of intent from KEF is not offering the traditional black. These are also, in fact, KEF's first ever wireless stereo tower system, which aims to combine all of the technologies and techniques they've learned over the last 60 years, and the LS60s are a statement set of speakers that are trying to convince us that you can actually achieve hi-fi quality without a separate amplifier, without speaker cable, and a fraction of the size. And actually, I'm going to say cost as well. And I say cost because these retail for £6,000 a pair, but they actually used a lot of similar technology found in their KEF blades, of which the 1 Metas are worth £30,000. So I am really pleased that KEF have been generous enough to trickle that technology down into the LS60s. The UniQ driver houses the 19mm aluminium dome tweeter at the center and the 100mm aluminium mid-range cone. Each speaker comes with 4 5¼ uni-core woofers taken from their KC62 subwoofer, which are found on the sides of each speaker, and they've been arranged so that they're force cancelling to eliminate as much vibration as possible. Now, KEF were actually the pioneers of this technology back in the 1970s, which they moved away from a bit, but then came back to it with their blades. Now, this is topped off with something called metamaterial absorption technology, MAT, which KEF claim eliminates 99% of unwanted noise from the rear of the tweeter, and the result that you get is a purer, more natural sound. So there is a lot of technology at work here and a lot of heritage in these speakers. The driver layout also utilizes what KEF calls single apparent source, where low, mid, and high frequencies all radiate from one central point. Now, all of these drivers are powered by a mixture of bespoke Class A, B, and Class D amplification, delivering a combined 1400 watts of power, which are located at the bottom of the speakers, which have a clever design to ventilate airflow. Now, I would love to get right into the sound quality, but first, I want to take a quick moment to appreciate the beauty of these. I have to say, they look so much better in the flesh compared to online. I think these might even have a chance of blending into your interior and keeping everyone in the home happy. They're simplistic and understated, and they're not too busy on the front. Now, these LS60s have also been completely slimmed down in terms of width, measuring less than the width of your iPhone. So really, you shouldn't be having any problems trying to find a space, even in a relatively small room. If you're unsure about whether these are going to fit in your home or how they're going to look, I think KEF have AR on their page, so you can place them in your room and see what they would look like. So I'll flash up a QR code on the screen now if you want to take a look at that. Now, each speaker weighs 31 kilograms, and a lot of that weight comes from a really quite heavy base plate, so they're not going to be going anywhere. In the box, you're also supplied with carpet spikes or rubber feet, depending on which type of floor you have, as well as a basic remote control, which looks like it was inspired by the Apple TV remote. Connections-wise, there's also quite a good choice here. So the HDMI eARC is great to see, so that you can have these either side of your TV and use them for your TV speaker system. So more on that later. You've also got an optical in, you've got digital coax, you've got analog RCA, so yes, feel free to hook up a turntable, CD player, whatever you want. You've got two Ethernet ports, one for a hardwired connection to your network and the other for the optional wired speaker link. And there are also two subwoofer outputs, one on each speaker, just in case you want to add up to two subwoofers to it. So I think this is also a good place to cover a few comments that we had on the preview video regarding upgradability. Now, of course, if anything fails on these speakers, they can be easily repaired. And regards to accommodating future technologies, KEF have always done a good job of pushing free over-the-air software updates to keep your speakers up to date. Now, if a time does come when these speakers can't handle a specific technology, you'll always have your HDMI, optical, and RCA connections available, which aren't, of course, going anywhere soon. Now, these are wireless speakers, so setup is completed simply by plugging both speakers into mains power. You don't need to create any speaker cable interlinks, and then you just complete the setup using the KEF Connect app. And by the way, the KEF Connect app is one of the most robust and detailed speaker customization apps I've ever come across for a wireless speaker. There is just one KEF app now rather than two, and I must say they have made some significant improvements in this area. It is just much cleaner overall, and it gives me Apple vibes, honestly, not sure why. Now, the EQ settings is where it's all happening because there's a wealth of customization here. I like that you can save modes for all of your EQ settings. You've got wall mode to reduce the boominess if the speakers are close to a wall. You can increase the treble, you've got phase correction, and you can even customize the bass extension. You've also got things like balance control. You can tell KEF how many subs you're using and even which sub you're actually using, whether it's a custom one or one of KEF's own. Towards the bottom as well, you have more sub settings like sub gain, polarity. I mean, you can really customize to your heart's content. And I'd highly recommend just playing around with this because your room is obviously going to have quite a significant impact on what you hear. So it's peace of mind that KEF have provided this many options. Now, we've got a whole host of streaming options, including Spotify Connect, AirPlay 2, Bluetooth 4.2, Chromecast, Tidal Connect, plus it's also Roon ready, and you've got more streaming options available through KEF's own streaming app. It will also do high-res files, so you can actually get up to 24-bit 384 kilohertz with connection over a cable, but without the cable, you can get up to 24-bit 96 kilohertz. Now, I saw a few of you in the announcement video pick up on the fact that the LS60s only have Bluetooth 4.2. And people have gone as far as saying it's a deal breaker for them. Now, off the back of your comments, we did reach out to KEF on this point, and they've said that while Bluetooth 5.0 and above can handle more data and it's faster, but currently, due to codec support, there is no audio difference. And to be honest, I think most of KEF's audience will most likely stream over Wi-Fi anyways because of the benefits that it offers compared to Bluetooth. Now, onto the sound quality then. So where to start? Now, I could just describe the sound quality, but I'd rather show you guys. Now, big disclaimer here. First of all, this will not do the LS60s justice, seeing as they're a £6,000 set of speakers, and also because they're being recorded by the binaural microphone and then transmitted to the speakers on your device, but it will give you a flavor for the sound profile. We are also limited to non-copyright tracks we can find, so it's not ideal, but we've got a range of genres, and listen out for the clarity of the vocals, the tightness of the bass, and the sweetness of the mid-range.
Dancing slowly in the moonlight, beneath the stars that lit up your eyes. The sweet scent of your skin filled up my lungs with ecstasy. I can't
Now, we tested the LS60s first with Spotify Connect, then with AirPlay 2, Bluetooth, and then Tidal Connect using their MQA files. And firstly, I've got to say, KEF have absolutely nailed it with the stereo reproduction. The presence that you get feels like you're watching someone perform live on stage. And it cannot be understated how well those UniQ drivers do a great job of giving you that all-encompassing sense of sound. They capture every element of the track, and I can personally guarantee you will hear things in your favorite tracks that you've never heard before. And that happened to us when listening to a track by Bonobo, which was Cirrus, and I never even realized that there are actually two bells at the start, not one. Now, I know that KEF have sometimes been criticized in the past for the mid-range, but the 12th generation UniQ in these LS60s for us delivers in this department. London Grammar's Big Picture, which we streamed via Tidal as an MQA file, was a prime example of that. Combined with the clarity of her vocals, it actually invoked emotions, and I guess that's how you know the speaker is doing a good job. The bass was also extremely controlled. You can feel it get extremely low, but it was also just as impactful. There's just zero distortion, and you'd expect this level of bass from a set of £20,000 pair of speakers, I'd say. And I'd also comment that the vocals are outstanding, if not the best thing about the LS60s. They add such a richness and presence that it makes you feel connected to the music. The utilization of KEF's single apparent source also adds to these speakers, as you have every frequency projected from a smaller area, which adds to the detail and the imaging. Now, I really would recommend investing in a high-res music service subscription to get the most out of these, such as Tidal Hi-Fi, Deezer Elite, Amazon Music Ultra HD, etc. So you can really squeeze every bit of detail out of your tracks. Now, as you'd be spending £6,000 on a set of wireless speakers, I would predict a lot of you out there might be thinking to double these up as your TV speakers, especially as they come with that HDMI eARC connection. Now, these are a stereo set of speakers, and they are primarily designed for music listening because at the end of the day, the most you're going to be able to achieve is 2.2, and that's if you added 2 subwoofers to the system. There's no dedicated center channel, and while it won't replace dedicated multi-channel systems, having the option is great. And these 12th gen UniQ drivers are probably the best driver to have in a stereo pair setup if you are going to use a TV setup without a center speaker. Following on from our sound test, you can probably tell I am really enjoying these speakers. Sometimes we can get hung up on specifications of this and that, but ultimately these connected me to my music, and they made me want to listen to my collection over and over again. Whichever way you look at it, £6,000 is an emotional purchase. It's not a rational purchase, but the emotion is exactly where the LS60s deliver. Right then, so firstly, for me, I would just buy these speakers. They're a fit for me, but I understand that they're not going to be a fit for everyone, and that is okay. This is what innovation and new products are good for, just inviting a conversation. The interesting thing about the LS60s is that my positives I give are going to be some people's negatives and vice versa. So here are some of the takeaway points about the LS60s, and you can decide if they're going to be a pro or a con for you. So a big pro for some is that these speakers have uniquely matched components, meaning every driver is paired with a custom amplifier designed to give the best possible performance, which takes away the worry that, am I choosing the right combination of equipment to make the most of my system? And all of that comes in a neat aesthetic package. Now on the flip side, this will be a negative for some, as taking the decision away of choosing a specific amplifier with a certain set of speakers and maybe a DAC you love is a no-go and an integral part of the hi-fi journey and learning for you. Again, following on from that point, as the drivers and the amplifiers are perfectly matched, we truly believe that if these were passive speakers at a lesser cost, you would struggle to pair these with a suitable amp for under £6,000. A great example of this is the LS50 Metas and the LS50 Wireless 2s. Again, on the flip side, part of the fun and enjoyment of some people's hi-fi journey is to try different components on your system over time. Whatever your thoughts, the one thing I can guarantee is if you sit down and listen to a pair of these speakers, you will forget about everything and just be immersed in the audio, which is probably the biggest compliment you can pay any speaker. So that's really our thoughts, guys, and we have to remember this is kind of a new and emerging market where hi-fi meets Wi-Fi. KEF are inviting a new conversation that other manufacturers maybe don't want to start, which is actually, yes, you can get a similar sounding hi-fi setup that's on Wi-Fi and it doesn't conform to that traditional hi-fi aesthetic. So we want to invite a conversation with you guys in the comments. What are your thoughts? Whatever you think about the KEF LS60s, I hope you enjoyed the review anyway. A bit of a long one, but I have thoroughly enjoyed having these here, and I'm going to be very sad to see them go actually. I'll leave the comment section open to share your thoughts, but do keep it friendly. That's all from me, so catch you in the next video.